Honourable Calgary-Fish Creek.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Premier and Minister of Economic Development recently returned from a trip to Asia. Promoting trade between Alberta and the world is a key component of any foreign mission. However, the government should also be focused on attracting foreign investment to Alberta. A recent Calgary Herald article referenced comments by China's ambassador to China, in which he stated, when talking about the oil sands, "I do not believe that Chinese enterprises would still be interested in this." To the Minister of EDT, what progress did you make in addressing the negative perception during your trip to China?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'll thank the member for his question. I can tell you that China is very, very interested in our energy. We know that Alberta is the energy and environmental leader the world needs for the 21st century, and so while the Premier and I were in Asia, we had numerous conversations about the approval of Trans Mountain, which I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, was very welcome news. Asia is hungry for our energy, and Alberta is more than willing to provide the world and Asia with our energy resources.
Supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, given that the Premier recently announced that Alberta and the Chinese province of Guangdong had become sister provinces, and given that while such announcements are helpful in strengthening bonds with a particular region, those bonds must be nurtured and supported now and into the future in order to achieve full potential, reflecting on our current relationship with Heilongjiang. Again to the Minister, what specifically are you doing to build cultural and commercial bridges between Guangdong and Alberta, and what specifically is your ministry doing to promote trade with the people and businesses of Guangdong?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'll thank the member for the question. The Premier signed a new twinning sister relationship with the province of Guangdong. I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, that this is the first new twinning since the 1980s with Asia. So this was long overdue, and just to put this into perspective, Mr. Speaker, Guangdong is the economic engine, or one of, in China. They are responsible for 1/5 of China's GDP. They are an economic powerhouse. We recently opened up an Alberta office, the 12th Alberta office, in the capital of Guangdong. I've been there 3 times now, and the Premier...
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Your second supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, given that Japan has recently chosen to increase the amount of electricity within their grid from coal-fired generation, and given that we have heard that there are Japanese companies ready and willing to buy large amounts of Alberta's low-sulphur thermal coal with the potential for significant direct investment in Alberta to follow, and given that this government has treated the thermal coal industry as just another climate change outcast, again to the Minister, did you discuss thermal coal opportunities while you were in Japan, and if so, what specific supports are you offering this industry in facilitating exports?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and again, I'll thank the member for the question. So, first of all, when we were in Japan, the topic of coal actually didn't come up that often. But what I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, is that Japan is also very interested in energy security and continuing to work with Canada. I can tell you the Premier signed an agreement with Japan Oil, Gas and Metals National Corporation. JOGMEC is a significant company that already has invested over $1 billion in Canada, with the majority of it being here in Alberta. We are continuing to work with them.
Thank you,